What's going on YouTube? Keith Moore Jr. here. For today's video, I'm going to be telling you all how to get lean while still enjoying life. And I'm going to be speaking from personal experience here because this year I really focused on getting down to 10% and below while still being able to live a balanced life. So the first thing I did was I started intermittent fasting again. With me, for my intermittent fasting, I either do 1 meal or 2 meals per day. And the days where I do 2 meals per day is usually on the weekends because that's when my wife and I typically have things going on. But if I had a very hard lower body training session, then I will do a second meal that day. Typically, I may do a meal following that hard lower body session. Now, what I recommend for people that have not done intermittent fasting before, I recommend you start with an 8-hour eating window, and then you have the 16-hour fasting period, which is also going to include sleep as well. And I do have videos on my channel about intermittent fasting, so if you just search my name, and I'll put some videos in the description for you all to check out as well for intermittent fasting that I did years ago. Now, I had got away from this, and at a certain point in time, I was, tracking my calories by weighing everything out, which is also going to be very beneficial as well. But with how busy my life is right now, between having a corporate job and having multiple businesses that I manage, it was very important for me to not do a bunch of thinking all throughout the day because I can't always weigh my foods out. But with intermittent fasting, eating 1 to 2 meals a day, I know that I'm still going to be in a caloric deficit, and I can really focus in on the nutrients that I need to be consuming every day that's going to help me with performance. So that is my very first tip, intermittent fasting. But along with that, even if you're doing an 8-hour eating window, you're trying to get lean, trying to lose weight, you still need to be in a caloric deficit. So you should still start off by tracking what you're eating, using a scale, and then as you get used to recognizing the portions and things like that, you no longer have to weigh your foods out. Now, I still may do it from time to time if I'm trying to get extremely lean for a show or something like that. But if I'm not preparing for a show or anything, then I'm at the point where I don't need to weigh my foods out. I'm good with the intermittent fasting, doing 1 to 2 meals a day. And the longest eating window I have right now is going to be about a 4-hour eating window. And that's on the days where I'm eating 2 meals per day. But like I said, you can start with 8-hour eating window and you can keep it there, or you can adjust it. Because as you get used to intermittent fasting, you're going to notice you aren't as hungry as you once were when you were constantly eating, 4 or 5 meals per day. The second tip I have for you all is to combine resistance training with calisthenics. So I have really been doing a lot more calisthenics this year, and it has really helped me to lean out. So granted, I've lost a lot of weight. I'm 155 pounds right now, but I've been able to really get very cut due to me doing calisthenics and doing weighted calisthenics with that to ensure that I'm progressing. Now, I've always lifted weights, but when I just lift weights, it gives me more of a bulkier look, and I'm not as functional as I am when I add in calisthenics with that. Now, the reason why I say combine resistance training with calisthenics is because we're talking about getting lean here. So we're talking about retaining that muscle mass as you lose the weight. Now, we're assuming you have some muscle mass in the first place. If not, I still recommend you do weights with calisthenics because that is still going to help you build muscle. So that is my recipe for getting lean. A lot of my clients come to me and they say, I want to lose weight, but I want to look toned. I don't want to look skinny. So for my clients, I even have them do resistance training, which would be either in the gym or home workouts if they have equipment, along with calisthenic workouts. So I either will mix in calisthenics with their resistance training, or dedicate days just for calisthenic movements. And that's going to help people to stay flexible, help with mobility, and it's going to help build up strength as well, because we are still making sure that we are progressing as the weeks continue. So that's tip number 2 for me. Then the third tip is something that is very, very simple. I talk about it all the time on this channel, and that is going to be walking. So I highly recommend you do daily walks. Start off doing 30-minute walks per day. I think you should do it first thing in the morning. That way you can get it out the way and you're getting your day started by getting some type of movement in. Now, people think because walking is such a low impact activity that it may not work for getting lean and weight loss. But honestly, walking is one of the best exercises for me because it's not a lot of strain on my body. I'm able to still do it when I'm sore from the gym, and the risk of injury is extremely low with walking. I'm not going to say it's impossible to get hurt while walking, but I have never heard of anyone getting hurt while walking. And I've been walking pretty much every day for over a year now, and I'm perfectly healthy. My injury came from lifting weights. So I would highly recommend that you start walking. You know, start with 30 minutes a day. You can keep it at 30 minutes, or you can extend the time with which you're walking. And then I would say walk at a decent pace. So on a treadmill, it would be like the equivalent of 3 miles per hour. That's the pace I like to set. Now, it's perfectly fine if you go faster than that, but that's the pace at which I like to walk at. I like to just take a nice, easy walk, hear the birds chirping, enjoy this Florida weather, and get my day started that way. It also is pretty much a form of meditation for me because it helps me get that mental clarity to figure out what I need to do for the day. So that is how I get lean while still enjoying life. No, I'm married, so I still have to make sure I have time to spend with my wife when we go on trips and things like that. And if we're going to be going out to eat at a restaurant or something, I don't want to be like, oh, well, let me eat my meal in the car before I go in. I can't eat anything. I've been that guy before when I was prepping for a show, and I do not want to do that again. So even if I decide to do another show, I'm going to have a flexible approach with it because I know that I could get very lean while still enjoying life. Oh, and I'll add another tip. So as far as drinking is concerned, I'm not really a big drinker, honestly. But if I do go out with my wife and we're out with friends or something, yeah, I'll have a drink. I keep it simple. I'm basic. I'll do a Long Island or Old Fashioned. Now when I'm at home, like for example, last night I had salmon, asparagus, and jasmine rice, and I had sangria with it. So if I'm going to drink, I prefer to have like some type of wine, sangria or something like that. So I'm not a big drinker, but I know people like to add that in, especially people that I train. They'll ask me about drinking. So here's how I look at it. Depending on what you're drinking, I consider stuff like alcohol to just be empty calories. Like, they're pointless. Like, how are these calories going to benefit you for performance? Let me answer that for you. They're not. So keep that in mind and know that there are going to be some sacrifices you have to add in there if you're somebody that likes to drink 4 to 6 times a week or something like that. And hey, I'm not judging if that's what you like to do, but just know that you have to have some sacrifice in there, because let's not pretend that after a night of drinking that the next day you're going to be ready to go and perform. That's not the case. Chances are you're probably going to have a meal after drinking that night, probably something unhealthy, whatever's open, and then the next day you're going to feel like crap. You're going to want to lay down. You're not going to want to work out. So be sure to keep a balance. Not saying cut it out, because like I said, I drink as well, but I understand that I need to keep a balance. So I hope this video was helpful. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, let me know what you all think, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.